Sports City, chefs, Sports City, chefs. Yeah. Cabby, Taj.
Yes. You are now in tune with the chefs. Thank you for listening. Welcome to the Finger Foods edition, hosted by myself, the villain, Barry Jordan, here on exclusively on the YouTube channel of Sports City Chefs. If you like what you hear, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and comment so that we can get you more of this fresh cooking, these home cooked meals in front of you, and get that algorithm going. So, listen, off of brutal loss in week 5, the villain is here to console all my Giant fans and let you know, I don't know if it's going to be okay, but we're going to talk about it. So, a lot to get to. Let's get started with the week 5 game between the New York Giants and Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys were victorious 44-20 over a beaten up and bloodied New York Giants football team. This game was expected to be a lot of scoring on both sides of the ball. One team did show up in that perspective as the Cowboys put on an avalanche, especially in the second half. The Giants just could not get going, especially as the injuries started to mount. We can't use that as an excuse, but it is what happened. A game that should have had a lot of scoring basically turned into a preseason contest when a lot of backups were out there for the Giants. So, let's get started with the defense. Defensively, I think after the progress they made against the New Orleans Saints in week 4, week 5 was a definite step back. And I think everybody saw that the Cowboys offense was pretty high powered and that they were going to score a lot of points. But the way they did it against the Giants was a little bit disturbing. The Giants gave up 515 yards of total offense against the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys were able to do it through the air and through the running game. They were able to do exactly whatever they wanted to. If you're looking at the Giants so far through the first 5 games, the Giants rank 26th in points allowed and 29th in total yards allowed. The problem is that this defense can't get stops. They can't stop the run consistently. I think they do a good job at times really stopping at the line of scrimmage, but then they get gashed for 10 yards or 15 yards here and there. They miss a lot of tackles. They're obviously missing their leader, Blake Martinez, but a lot of tackles are missed, especially in the second level. And then their coverage is just being exposed because they can't get a pass rush, and which we've been saying for weeks. It's just an avalanche of things that kind of snowball against this defense. A lot of people were killing cornerback James Bradbury for his performance. He's been struggling a little bit. He's made some plays, but he's struggled definitely. Everybody looks at that 49-yard touchdown to CeeDee Lamb as an example of Bradbury just not playing good defense, and I don't see that. Bradbury did what he was supposed to do. He was looking for help over the top, as he should have, from Julian Love. Julian Love was playing the middle of the field in cover 1 and was late getting there. Kind of got held. Dak Prescott did a good job of holding him in the middle of the field with his eyes. But at that point, I think CeeDee Lamb is the guy that you need to cover. I think they were rolling to that area, so he shouldn't have been looking nothing behind you as a safety. You shouldn't have been looking in front of you forward. You should have been looking back and covering over the top. So that was a lapse in judgment, but a lapse in coverage, and that's kind of what happens when you get exposed when you don't have a pass rush. So the Giants defense just didn't make the plays. Bradbury dropped an interception in the red zone in the second half. The next play, Cooper, the first half. The next play, Cooper scores a 24-yard touchdown. Giants, the 5th game in a row that they've let up a score to end a half, a touchdown at that. They just can't get off the field. Bradbury, had a mental mistake with a pass interference on a 3rd and 3 inside the goal line, that would have got them off the field and settled for a field goal. 2 plays later, they score a touchdown. It's stuff like that was killing the Giants. And when you're losing a lot of people on offense, especially, the defense needed to make plays to keep them in the game. They just couldn't do it for the whole game. Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard combined for over 200 yards rushing, 5 yards a carry. There were brisk tackles, like I said, broken tackles, or just unable to get off blocks. The Cowboys were able to do what they wanted against this offense. His defense. Kadarius Toney is a star in the making. You get flashes of when Odell Beckham was a rookie. I'm not comparing Toney to Beckham, but the ability to make plays, his speed, when you get the ball in his hand, he's just electric. He had 10 catches for 189 yards. Even had a throw in the game. Was running the jet sweep as well. He is just a guy that you got to get him the ball. And coaches were saying that all through preseason. He was dealing with COVID in the spring, had a hamstring injury, and you just didn't see enough of him. But the coaching staff said, we got to get him the ball. We got to get him the ball. And you can see why. Obviously, the downside, his day was cut short because of a stupid play to punch DeMonte Kazi in the head after, he was provoked. It was definitely provoked, but you can't do that, especially at that point in the game. So it was a stupid play. Joe Judge was not happy, and Toney has got a lot to learn. Galladay said he's a young kid and he's got to learn. I think Judge echoed the same thing in his press game as well. He was not happy with that play, and it took him out of the game. And, the Giants were out of the game at that point, but still, it's just not a smart play. So he's got to learn from that. Injuries are mounting. Saquon Barkley left the game early with a nasty ankle injury, rolled his ankle. It looks like he's avoided a major injury, but, it was ugly. It looked like a tennis ball was on his ankle. They were already coming into the game. They lost Martinez, like I noted. Defensive captain Nick Gates, guard who was showing a lot of promise. Andrew Thomas, who I lamented, is their offensive lineman MVP so far this season. Losing him really shuffled the deck, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But losing Darius Slayton and Shepard, so they were already down weapons, and then to lose Saquon in the first quarter, after he rolled on a teammate. Daniel Jones with a scary play. Prayers up to him. Anyone that is happy that he got hurt or said, couldn't get, whatever they were saying on Twitter was just uncalled for. This guy, when I saw him get up and he was stumbling and the referees came in and said, no, you got to get somebody out here, I was terrified for him because I've seen it before. So I hope he's all right. And then Kenny Galladay got hurt too. He had a knee injury that now, they're hopeful that it doesn't keep him out long term, but, they were down their 3 stars, quarterback, receiver, and running back. Radarius Williams went down with a knee injury. Turns out he has a torn ACL. He's done for the season. Prayers up for him. We're already thin at cornerback, waiting for people to come off the IR. You got 6 weeks before that can happen. So waiting for, I think, Sam Beal to come off the IR. So it doesn't get any easier. It was a walking wounded game. A lot of people got hurt. It got to the point where John Ross was the lead receiver, and he made some plays, but getting throws from Matt Glennon, who came in and it was funny. I was talking to a Giant fan during the game. Glennon is good for a touchdown, but he's also good for 2 picks, and that's pretty much what happened. So. But he responded. He played pretty well, but it was at one point where the Giants were missing 70% of their starting offense. It's just you can't win that way. I don't know where they go from here. They got the Rams, and it's going to be tough. The offensive line took a major step back, and part of that was because of the injury to Thomas, putting Nate Soldier at left tackle. He got pushed around all day. He had the lowest offensive score grade according to Pro Football Focus. Soldier scored a 38.8 for the day, gave up 8 total pressures on the day. Matt Pert, had the highest grade according to Pro Focus with a 69.8. Only gave up 1 pressure on 44 pass blocks. But you could see the Giants as a whole gave up 12 hurries in the day, 6 total hits on quarterbacks. The quarterbacks were under pressure the whole game, and only 12 were recorded, but it seemed like a lot more. So listen, Nate Solder is just not a lineman anymore, NFL caliber lineman, in my opinion. Randy Gregory was able to push him back around, and he just struggled all day. Now, granted, he was out of position. He was really supposed to play right tackle, but with Andrew Thomas not being able to go, it really shifted a lot of the line. I mean, I thought Hernandez played pretty well, but for the most part, the line as a whole struggled. They weren't able to hold up on pass plays to get the ball downfield to attack cornerbacks because they had plays. They had guys open, and for the most part, when they got time, Glennon or Jones was able to move the ball. So I mean, listen, I think it's time to get Matt Pert a real legitimate shot once Andrew Thomas gets back in the lineup. Put him at left tackle, Thomas, and then put Pert at right tackle. It's time to move on from Soldier. It's just not working, and it's just David Gettleman has to draft linemen again, right? Because he just can't get it right. But I would not allow him to draft a lineman anymore. I think his time is over. It's done. We've seen enough. He's brought in some solid weapons, but now you're talking about Saquon Barkley as a number 2 pick, and you got to have to make a decision about him because he's hurt again. Now do you pick up his option for $7 million, or do you franchise him, or do you give him a long-term deal? What are you doing with him? But a second overall pick for a running back, what are you thinking? Even though Barkley is an amazing talent, you don't have the line to justify that. So, it's a lot. I think that Gettleman's time is over in New York. You got 2 draft picks in the first round coming up. One has to be spent on an offensive lineman. One needs to be spent on a dominant edge rusher. And both picks need to be made by someone not named Dave Gettleman. That's just the way it is. So Giants will test their mettle at home against a rested Rams on a mini bye coming off of their Thursday night performance. So they got an extra couple days of rest. They're headed to New York to play the Giants. The Rams 4-1. Offensive attack looks really good. So, I mean, it could be a field day. We don't know who's going to be playing quarterback. Most likely it's going to be Matt Glennon. I don't see how Daniel Jones gets out of concussion protocol. They'll be without their lead receiver in Galladay. Will be without Saquon Barkley. So we'll see what they can do. But, again, it's going to be a long season. But thank you for listening. Like I said, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, comment so that you get more beautiful content like this. Talking finger foods. We got shows all week talking the teams that we love, the Steelers and the Giants. But there's more on the way. Get to the website, the interviews, the blogs. We got shows coming up. We got the Baseball Buffet. We got the Crossover Cafe coming back very soon. The chefs are always cooking. On that note, tell a friend to tell a friend. It's the chefs again. And if you don't know, now you know.
Sports City, Chef.